She is considered one of the most tragic empresses in history. A chance encounter at the age of 16 completely ruined her life, yet she harbored no regrets. This woman was Empress Xiaojing Wang. Born into a middle to lower-ranking official family Hebei province, Wang was selected during a nationwide beauty contest in the early years of the Wanli era, when the emperor was seeking a bride. She successfully passed the initial rounds, but was ultimately eliminated in the final stage, failing to make it into the top 3. According to custom, those who were not chosen were either sent back home, or remained in the palace as maids. Wang stayed in the Qining Palace as a maid. In 1581, Emperor Shenzong of the Ming Dynasty, Zhu Yijin, visited the Qining Palace to pay his respects to his mother, Empress Dowager Li. There, he noticed a round-faced maid who caught his eye. In a moment of impulse, he secretly took advantage of her. Afterward, he left without a second thought, leaving the young maid, Wang, in tears of humiliation. According to palace rules, any encounter between the emperor and a maid outside his formal consorts had to be recorded by eunuchs, noting the date and the maid involved for future reference. When the eunuch in charge of records knelt to ask what reward should be given to the fortunate maid, Zhu Yijin, blushing, replied, "A set of jewelry," before hastily leaving. Fearing his mother's wrath and potential punishment, Zhu Yijin kept the incident hidden. Poor Wang, unable to speak of her suffering, buried the humiliation deep within her heart and continued her daily duties as if nothing had happened. Months later, Wang began experiencing nausea and vomiting. Empress Dowager Li, being experienced, immediately recognized the signs. Wang had no choice but to confess the emperor's actions. To her surprise, the Empress Dowager was overjoyed, as she was already in her 60s and had yet to hold a grandchild. She arranged for special care for Wang's diet and daily needs. Soon, the news of Wang's pregnancy spread throughout the palace, becoming a major topic of discussion, though Zhu Yijin feigned ignorance. Seeing that the emperor showed no initiative, Empress Dowager Li decided to seek a title for Wang herself. However, Zhu Yijin, still embarrassed, argued that Wang was merely a maid. The Empress Dowager first scolded him, then comforted him by saying that while Wang was a maid now, she could be elevated later. She emphasized that if Wang gave birth to a son, it would be a blessing for the Zhu family. Reluctantly, Zhu Yijin issued an edict conferring the title of Imperial Concubine Wang upon her. In 1582, Imperial Concubine Wang indeed gave birth to a son, named Zhu Chongluo, who would later become the Guangzong Emperor. Although this was the emperor's first son, it should have been a joyous occasion. However, only Empress Dowager Li was delighted, while Emperor Wanli showed no signs of happiness. The birth of the child did not improve Wang's life. Instead, she and her son faced even greater hardships, often suffering humiliation and persecution from Consort Zheng, the emperor's favorite concubine. Consort Zheng had borne several sons for the emperor, but only Prince Zhu Chongsun survived. Emperor Wanli wished to make Zhu Chongsun the crown prince, making Wang and her son targets of envy and hostility. However, the emperor's intentions were strongly opposed by both his ministers and Empress Dowager Li. According to Ming Dynasty succession rules, the eldest son of the emperor was the rightful heir, making Zhu Chongluo the most suitable candidate. Poor Wang became a pawn in the power struggle between the Empress Dowager and the emperor. She was neglected by her husband, separated from her son, and subjected to endless humiliation from Consort Zheng. Even the eunuchs and maids treated her with disdain. Finally, under pressure from Empress Dowager Li and the court officials, Emperor Wanli reluctantly named Zhu Chongluo as the crown prince in 1601, ending a 15-year dispute over the succession. It wasn't until 1606, when Wang's grandson was born, that she was finally elevated to the rank of imperial noble consort, a full 20 years after Consort Zheng had received the same title. By 1611, Wang, now blind from years of weeping, lay on her cold bed, her body emaciated, tears still silently streaming down her face as her breathing grew faint. On her deathbed, Emperor Wanli finally allowed her to see her son one last time. When Zhu Chongluo arrived at his mother's side, Wang tremblingly grasped his hand, weeping with joy for half an hour before passing away. 10 years later, her grandson Zhu Yuxiao ascended the throne and posthumously honored her as Empress Dowager, burying her alongside Emperor Shenzong Zhu Yijin. Empress Xiaojing Wang, who never held the title of empress during her lifetime, was only posthumously honored by her grandson, marking her as one of the most unfortunate figures in history.